pandemic has tested marriages across the country, with reports showing divorce rates increasing as the health crisis enters its third year. Marriage experts, podcast hosts, and authors Tony and Alisa DiLorenzo join us live right now to talk more about how the pandemic is impacting marriages. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Marriage is hard work under normal circumstances, no doubt. But you throw in the stress and the strains of a 2-year health crisis, and healthy marriages can be yet another casualty of the pandemic. So what problems have you seen arise in marriages over the past 2 years?
Yeah, the last 2 years have been really challenging because couples are dealing with things they've never been faced with before, really being in this pressure cooker of, job stress, kid stress, home stress, of being all together and just really under a pressure cooker.
You said January is the most common month to file for divorce. Why is that?
That really happens because of the fact we come out of the holiday season and so many couples really want to have that last holiday together.
Yeah.
If they're contemplating divorce, they want to have the Christmas presents. They want to see their children's faces smile, but then they look at the beginning of a new year and they think, is this really what I want to do all over again?
And going back to the pandemic, you say some of the key factors of divorce over the past 2 years: financial stress, we get that with all the lockdowns, forced time together, which is kind of funny because you would think married couples would want to spend more time together, but maybe you get to know that person more and their behavior can be annoying. Household responsibilities, especially with school shut down, kids at home more, there's just more stress, more juggling, difference in values, illnesses. Why don't you lay out, explain a few of those categories and a few of those factors?
Yeah, I think if we start from the top, even with the lockdowns and what was happening under that pressure cooker, were we going to be able to bring in enough income? And I think for a lot of folks, that really started it off. And it just put many of us in a place of stress and anxiety. And how are we going to be able to, keep the lights on or pay our mortgage or pay our rent or even get food? I mean, if we remember, shelves were empty at times. And I think that began that sort of tumble for many of us. And then being together all the time is tough. In marriages, most of us we're working outside the house, we're doing things, we're going about our time. But now it's like we're together 24/7. The kids are on top of us 24/7. We're having to teach them, we're having to work. And the delineation between sort of that work-home alignment got shifted. And it really threw many of us off.
Household responsibilities. Oh, yes. Go ahead, Alisa.
I was going to say, it's not easy when, our lives just suddenly come to a halt.
Yeah.
This has been an unprecedented time for couples. There's no manual on how to be married during a pandemic. And so couples are really having to find their way in uncharted waters.
Yeah, I remember from personal experiences, we were considering, should mom stay home and watch the kids because they're not in school anymore? And that adds a lot of stress as well with, who gets to leave their job and stay home with the kids in today's modern day society, right?
Exactly. And when, parents have gone from being, the providers and they're out working and everything to suddenly being, full-time teachers. Fortunately, our children were high schoolers, but, so many of our friends have, early elementary kids. And when all of a sudden, the children are being required to be on Zoom and everybody has to be on Zoom and mom and dad are trying to figure out how to do work and be on Zoom and make sure there's food on the table. Just a lot of fear and concern stirred up by the uncertainty. And a lot of times that fear and uncertainty is what leads couples to, feel so under pressure and under stress that they begin to contemplate divorce.
Yeah. Well, help us out here. What advice can you offer to married couples facing hardships right now due to COVID?
Well, the first thing I would say is if your marriage is feeling stressed, please get help.
Yeah.
This is a season where we've had so many people saying, if you're feeling sick, if you've got a sniffle or a sore throat, please seek out medical advice. And the same is true about your marriage. If your marriage is feeling sick, if you're feeling under stress or you're having difficulty communicating or breaking, argument cycles, get help. Find a marriage coach, find a marriage expert that you can work with that will come alongside the two of you to equip you.
All right. Do you expect divorce rates to continue rising as the Omicron variant could lead to more lockdowns?
Our prayer is that it doesn't. That's why we do what we do. It's to come out and We have our weekly podcasts, and we speak each and every week to encourage and instill hope in couples, to turn that tide for them so that they can go, oh, you know what? We don't have to be the statistic. We don't have to be a statistic. There's something that we can do to grow our own marriage, even in these times, because things are going to happen. There are going to be highs and there are going to be lows in any marriage journey. And it is our desire to just continue to pour into marriages for them to go, you know what? We don't have to be that. We can make some shifts and some changes and have the extraordinary marriage we desire.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. DiLorenzo, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate your help.
Thank you.